year, or we're trying to sell specific research projects. Thankfully for all of us, the ARF is outside all of those paradigms. So last year, they started to reveal the first of their How Advertising Works research, and they've built upon it again this year. So you'll have 2 different presentations from the ARF today under the umbrella of How Advertising Works. First, you'll have my dear friend, Manuel Garcia-Garcia. The whole double Garcia thing always trips me up, but we'll go with Garcia squared for today. He will come up first and talk to us about mobile advertising and how to make it kick-ass, for lack of a better term. And after that, you will have also my dear friends, Chris Bacon and Horst Stipp, from the ARF, talking to us about ROI and context, because we're always struggling between the right audience or the right audience, the right context, and what yields best results for all of us. So I'm really looking forward to hearing these 2 presentations. And with that, let me welcome up Manuel Garcia-Garcia.
Thank you so much, Radha. Hello, good morning. How's everyone doing? We're super excited today to bring you some of the new insights of this project, How Advertising Works. We have a bunch of new original research, a bunch of new experiments, and of course, they wouldn't have been possible without the support and the intellectual magic of all of our partners and sponsors that have been supporting us this year and also last year. So as Radha was mentioning, some of you might remember how we did a lot of work last year to bring you some new insights. Some of them were about how to build effective campaigns across platforms. And one of the opportunities we saw when we were doing that research is that effectiveness can grow a lot if we optimize an execution to each specific platform instead of just repurposing. So one of the questions we wanted to answer this year was, well, how do we do that? And for that, we wanted to focus on mobile. And why is that? We believe mobile provides a huge opportunity for many reasons. Ad spending is high and growing. We just have it all the time with us. We check it over 150 times a day. And also we purchase services and we purchase goods on that all the time, at least many of us, almost 80% of us. But the big opportunity also comes because we're not yet doing things the best way possible. We saw that 62% of campaigns are not really using mobile the right way, sometimes because we are repurposing creative from a different platform, which we know it's not optimal, but sometimes also because we all have this experience of being very concentrated, reading something absolutely exciting, like the original research of the ARF, and then all of a sudden, bang, something interrupts your experience, and that's annoying, and that's something you don't want, and maybe you click accidentally, and then it goes to a different browser, it's taking data, it's slow, it's terrible, and then what do? You install ad blockers. And ad blockers are a huge existential threat to digital advertising, not only because of all the money that it's costing now and all the huge number of ad blockers that have been already installed, but also because it's growing exponentially. It's growing really, really fast, 50% between 2016 and 2017. So we wanted to understand 2 things. First, how to develop creative that works on mobile, not just repurposed from a different platform, but also how do we effectively deliver it so it's not annoying and we don't want to install ad blockers. So in order to do that, we did 2 original experiments using survey research, using biometric research, and even using neuroscience research. In total, it was almost 250 participants, and we looked at different things. So in the first one of those 2 experiments, we were looking at specific creative factors. So what did we do? This was run on the YouTube platform. So we had 4 executions as they were developed originally, and then we created 2 new versions. In one of them, we added early branding, so branding the logo within the first 2-3 seconds. In the second one, we added early call to action. So we had a call to action and a hashtag during the first 2-3 seconds. And we wanted to see how that would impact the effectiveness of the whole ad, obviously tested on mobile. So what did we see? We saw that early branding increased visual attention for the whole ad. That is the average fixation during the full ad. This is actually eyes on the copy, not just the ad on the screen. However, we also saw that in all of these conditions, participants were skipping the ad after 5 seconds on a rate of over 90%. But still, we were increasing visual attention, so that's something to take into account. And we also know that from previous Google brand lift studies, that adding that brand in the first 5 seconds increases ad recall. So now we have that, right? We know that early branding works on mobile well because it increases visual attention and it increases brand recall. But then a crucial question is, how do we deliver that to make it effective and also to make it not annoying? So on a different experiment, we took 6 different executions, and then we tested them in different placements, in different formats. This is like within an article. This is in text. So in one of the conditions, the executions were shown as pre-roll, so the top of the text running automatically. In a different condition, it was in stream, like in the middle of the text, as we often find them, also running automatically. We also had them as a pop-up. And then we also added this unit in which you opt in if you want. And if you do, and you watch the ad, you receive an incentive. So we wanted to see how this placement would impact ad effectiveness. So first, we looked using a tracking technique. How long did they look at this ad? And as you can see for the pop-up, all these ads were like 15 seconds, so it's like 10% is like 1.5 seconds. That's as long as it took for the user to find the X and close it. That's how long they looked at this ad. In stream, it was a little longer. Surprisingly, pre-roll, they looked on average like half the duration of the ad, which is pretty positive. And on that incentivized payoff condition, they looked even a little bit longer. So those are 2 good opportunities. Then we also looked at the neurological activity, the EEG activity, one indicator of motivations, whether they want to act upon, is this working? Whether they want to act upon what you're saying. And is this not working? Okay. How is this? So we looked at the signal for motivation, and we saw that this pop-up ad was actually eliciting some motivation. Why? What do you want to do when you see a pop-up ad? You want to act upon it because you go and close it real quick. How do we know it was such a negative response? When we also looked through facial coding to emotional affect, well, you can see there on the screen, the pop-up was like very negative, and the only positive response we saw here was for the payoff when they were receiving an incentive. Then we looked at brand recall. And obviously, for the pre-roll that they had seen for an average of half the duration, and for payoff that they had seen a little longer, recall was kind of decent. For pop-up that they pretty much didn't see it, recall was very, very low. But then circling back to the whole idea of how do we avoid ad blockers, we also asked them how much would they be willing to pay for an ad blocker after having gone through each one of these experiences. And the difference is like pretty large. If you see for those disruptive experiences that are in-stream and pop-up, they were willing to pay 2 or even 3 times more than for the other 2 experiences that were at the beginning, so they were not interrupting, and in one of them, one of which they could even opt in. So that makes a huge difference. So there are things we can do to avoid ad blockers. So just wrapping this up, we've seen that branding early might make your creative more effective, and that it's very important to not disrupt, to give the user control, and that might be an opportunity to leverage incentives. And this was like very, very quick summary of all that huge amount of research. So if you want to learn more, I would invite you to join me with Dr. Vanessa Singh from Nielsen, Howard Blumenstein from Google, and Dr. Kimberly Clark from Merchant Mechanics at 11 at the Palisades room for a deep dive. So thank you very much. And now I'll hand it over to my friend, Dr. Hochstib.